Scott Patterson with the Weather Report. Just want to talk about a situation going on for the East Coast if you are flying. Delays and cancellations are building for the major airports from DC all the way up to Boston due to thunderstorms coming into those airports, or I think right now they're actually in New York City. So the situation may improve in an hour a little bit in terms of the weather, but the effects on the cancellations have already been played, and I expect there will be numerous cancellations, or if not that bad, at least many delays of several hours. So if you're flying later today or currently at the airport and you see this, well, you should make plans right now to do an alternative if you need to get home today. And if you can wait till tomorrow, then you might as well just leave the airport and go home, because it looks like a not as bad as it could get situation, but it is bad. So the wall is a name I've come up with to describe the situation, which happens quite frequently. It's definitely already happened several times this year. So what is the wall? Area of thunderstorms in the red box. They come in from the west to the east, and they set up kind of along and west of these big cities. So Boston, I put Hartford just so you know where it is. Not a big city, but New York City, Philadelphia, DC. So this corridor is the worst affected. And it's just really because there's so many big airports in this area. You got Boston, but you have JFK, LaGuardia, Teterboro, which is private, but it just adds more planes to the area. You have Newburgh to the north, which is also smaller, but is part of the New York City area. And then you have Newark down here as well, big airport, lots of planes. Philadelphia, and then Washington and Baltimore. Plus you have Dulles and Reagan in there. So you have all these airports and all these planes flying in. Many are going to try to fly coming in from Canadian airspace to deal with the thunderstorms to come in a better approach. But the one thing you must remember is that the ocean is not playable. You cannot just fly lots of planes over the ocean and sit them out there. That's not an option. So because of that, that's why you get this really constrained area like a traffic jam. And when the thunderstorms happen, they make the traffic jam turn into, just absolutely standstill. So if you're ever in a traffic jam where you just sit there forever and you don't move, that is what the thunderstorms in the red box create. And so you can see on here all the planes that we're trying to get into the airports. Most of them are to the east because the thunderstorms are to the west. If you look at the current, now this was about an hour ago. There are more now. JFK has now since been added, but all the red boxes indicate the areas where there is a ground stop or there was a ground stop due to thunderstorms. And so you can see Boston, Newark, Dulles is IAD, LaGuardia, Teterboro, which is again the smaller private, where more of the private jets go, and then Philadelphia had a ground delay, so it could have been, but with a chance of becoming an actual ground stop due to thunderstorms. So you can see on here that's what's going on now. Where's planned? So if you think, oh, I'm free and clear because I'm not on the East Coast, you're wrong. And so the reason is thunderstorms, are going on other places, but the main area on the East Coast is where I just indicated. It's going to get worse before it gets better. You'll get more and more delays and cancellations as the storms they're moving so slow through that area. And so on that radar, again, these storms are, I think, in New York City now, but they are just moving like molasses. It's just like unbelievably creepingly slow. And there are more storms building. So this is a big problem when they form like this right along the I-95 corridor. So if you're flying around in that area, and you absolutely have to get home, rent a car, drive west, either go to another airport and see if you can get out from a further west airport, or just drive to where you're going. That's your options. Okay, so if you're not at those airports and you think you're free and clear, well, this is where there's possible delays coming your way. Charlotte, thunderstorms in the area, possible ground stop. Ground stop is worse than ground delay. Ground stops means no planes are flying out of the airport. Delay means they're just spacing them different. They delay you on purpose, delay the planes coming to the airport, create more spacing so they can route planes around the storms. Austin, San Antonio, there's thunderstorms near, but in between both those airports and those cities, so possible delay. MCO is Orlando, Tampa Bay, thunderstorms in the area. Atlanta has thunderstorms off to the north and west, which is a bad direction for them. And then Miami and Fort Lauderdale, also possible delays. And below this is what you see is why I think it could get worse. This is showing how long the ground stops or ground delays go. So DCA, Baltimore, LaGuardia, Teterboro, Boston all could see stuff going until 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. And if that happens, cancellations are going to cascade. So if that's why I say if you can get out of there now, get out, because it's going to get worse. Here's where the other areas where thunderstorms could occur. I just kind of mentioned the areas. It's the weather radar and all the areas circled where there may be ground stops or ground delays. And then the other thing you may hear from the airline, oh, it's ATC's delay. It's not an actual at the airport. Well, that just means it's on the route, on your route. And so this is where the routing issues or en route issues are possible. So anything coming out of these airports. Now there's two more on here that are not currently on those other boards, and that's Phoenix and Las Vegas, and on three, Denver. And that's due to thunderstorms over the mountains in between these three that could cause the delays where they're routing people around them. The other issue is Nav Canada. They may limit how many planes can fly through that southern part of Ontario around Toronto and south toward Detroit. That area, sometimes they don't let all the planes go through there to get around the thunderstorms, or it's just kind of how they route planes. There could be some issues there. And then across the Gulf Coast, so from Houston to Florida, if there's thunderstorms along that part of the near shore water of the Gulf, then they can cause delays because they have to push everybody inland, and then you create more congestion for the planes that are already there. So these are all things to consider if you're flying today. If you're flying tomorrow, just consider that all the planes that get canceled today, those people are flying tomorrow. So everything tomorrow may be backed up to start the day at least, especially on the East Coast. Here's your routing delays, as I was mentioning. In the orange areas, you can see there's a large area of thunderstorms, but it's really just a congestion issue, and it's really bad up here in the Northeast when this happens. And lastly, if you, again, be patient. The airlines are not working against you. They're trying to get you where they're going, but they're kind of have their hands tied when thunderstorms form in this kind of a way. If you can drive, you can rent a car, rent a car. If you can't, figure out something else. Get on a train. Take a look at the departure board, see who is actually flying, see if you can get on that flight and get out of the East Coast. The East Coast is going to be a meltdown. That's what happens in this situation. That is why it's the wall. And so if you can get out of there and get somewhere else out, you have a lot better chance of getting where you're going if you need to be somewhere absolutely tonight or early tomorrow morning. And then in the future, how can you plan for this? Literally, this is what I do for a business. For 20 years, I worked with private industry, with customers, individuals, actual businesses, helping them get around the weather. The weather is constantly an issue. It affects you in all kinds of ways. So if you need to get somewhere, if you have some operation, if you're doing something that needs to be free of weather, or at least you need to know what the weather is so you can plan for it, reach out to me. Reach out through the Substack. It's a really good way to get a hold of me. And best of luck. Safe travels.